very much, panel, for breaking things down. And, you know, we got to move on from what just happened in Game 1. And now for Game 2 here, we'll see if TNC can replicate at least the early game from the last one. Let's see if they can do that. And you heard it right from Renmar and Rockhart, both pretty much agreeing that the side lanes are so important this early game that TNC needs to control. It's either got to be heads or it's got to be Kozin in, that first 6 minutes or so to deal with. How do you feel about that, Ian?
Yeah. I think if they replicate, as you mentioned, game number 1, they dominated the XP lane because their first rotation after getting a pick off onto Few onto mid was XP.
Yeah.
And it worked for them for the, first 4 minutes. I feel like if they extend it to 8 minutes, they can end games in 11 minutes. But right now, again, the pull from Lancy.
Oh, wow, he's going to jump in? Okay, he's fine. But playing on the edge here for the most part. But, yeah, and I think that's the thing. Like, is it going to be Lancy that's helping them win that early game this time around with this Faramis pick here?
I think as soon as the first turtle spawns, first 2 turtles, yes, he'll definitely be a factor. And if they want to go overextend and gank Flap TZ, Lancy's really going to be a big factor as soon as he reaches level 4 like this. Because they're going to go for the gank onto the middle lane. Kyle TZ, first man down. Kazin gets a kill.
There it is. First blood going in the hands of TNC. And like you mentioned, Lancy, big part of that too. This is the use of that Stampede, that Shadow Stampede. You get to go ahead and pull someone in for the team. And
here's the
guys are set here for Flap.
Here's the gank onto the XP lane. Flap TZ. Can he out-sustain the damage? I think not. And Heads picks up a kill.
Great movements here coming from TNC. Starting things off strong in the early game. Heads now has that level 4. Perfect timing for the first objective, just like we saw in Game 1. Pretty much doing exactly how they did it. Controlling things, pushing FCAP off. Not going to be able to contest at all for this first objective, so TNC already off to a great start. Now, because of that, what can TNC do differently this time? We saw that shift. I think you mentioned in Game 1, it was really that second turtle when things started to shift for FCAP.
Yeah, I think it was the moment that they tried to go for the wait. The minute Kozin goes in with the Blazing Duet just to get a faster clear here onto the minions. I think it was the moment when they got the second turtle. Kazin didn't use the... I don't know, FCAP got the second turtle. Kyle TZ used the second, his Retribution. Kazin didn't, so they went for the orange buff steal. And that's where they fell off. I think their over-aggression, because they thought that they had a huge lead that they could pull those things off and extend their lead more by depriving Kyle TZ of his buff. So I think they have to play it safer. More calculated, extend their lead, but not at a huge amount right away. Just step by step, minute by minute, as Renmar said. Take it minute by minute. Minute by minute.
They have to, like, I agree, be a little more calculated in that. And I think, again, they're just... This is a team that likes to take the chances, you know, and sometimes, like I said, it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But at the same time, we go back to that point where they have to be able to control this early game, especially the side lanes under, you know, that 6-7 minute mark. And so for them, in order to do that, I think TNC still has to utilize the amount of utility that they have, that they can juggle around with. And anytime you have this Matilda, even the Faramis available to you, that's what you're doing. You know, you're not really relying on Claude to be the main damage dealer until later on. So then play around the fact that you have Kazin and Heads here. And even to an extent, like we all know that Faramis, depending on how it's utilized by the different players here, can do quite a bit of damage.
1v1 between the 2 gold laners, but
there it is.
Here comes Escalera with a guiding wind and Circling Eagle to bring down Marco. 0-1-0, off to a good start for TNC as they extend their gold lead.
Yeah, this is going to set themselves up for the second turtle really well. And they have a better lead now than they did in Game 1. Should be able to just get this objective, but you can already see FCAP. They're not going to go for it. That's turtle secured. Kyle TZ just working on the buff. So this is great momentum for TNC. They're playing with the momentum that they have. They're controlling their sides of the map like they should. And if they can keep this up even to the third turtle, that's great for them, dealing with what FCAP brings to the table in this game too.
You know, at the rate that they're playing now, close to perfection, their only problem coming into the mid game is honestly themselves. Their main enemy is themselves. To avoid the over-aggressions, to avoid the 50-50 risky plays, just really wait for Kozin's power spike to arrive, he picked up already an assist, is dominating the gold lead, so it's not that hard, it's not that far for Kozin to be activated right away without suffering any casualties for the side of TNC.
Yeah, I think this... Oh, hold on. Phew.
Okay, here comes Kazin. RWM is there. Lancy picks up the kill. Now they have to walk away here. Circling Eagle is there. Flap TC onto the chase as well. Oh, Glorious Pathway will be casted. Kozin goes in with the Blazing Duet. Not enough damage. Goes right after Ogwen, but Lancy's going to fall down. Flap TC pops his Primal Wrath. Has to walk away. That's worth it exchange. Few for Lancy.
Yeah, Flap gets a kill in that exchange.
Yeah.
So, but you can still see where this lineup from TNC is able to pull these things off at this point of the game. And this is now the 6-minute mark. So, just like our panelists mentioned, you know, they had to pull the trigger on these side lanes, and they've done that. Looking at that as well, you know, you've only got to... Okay, he picks up the DHS now. I was going to say, you got the Corrosion Scythe there for Kozin. He was close to DHS, locks it in right at the 6-minute mark, so that's great for him. And even there, Heads, he's only got the War Axe, but he's also enough, he provides enough of the frontline tankiness and then relying on, you know, the utility that they have for TNC that he can play around being aggressive on this Terizla pick. So it's FCAP that are kind of like, whoa, we're trying to catch our breath a little bit against these first few minutes against TNC, and the third turtle's up though, and they have the control for this.
Okay, this might be the turning point for Falcons AP BREN because they have the control. Ogwen being the frontliner here, Kyle TZ will get the turtle. They have to disengage, but here comes the chase coming in from Escalera. The Circle Eagle is there. RWM will be casted. Ogwen's still alive with the Revitalize. Now that was a trade for Falcons AP BREN they're willing to take. Oh, wait, a pull coming in from Few. Here comes Edge, chases him after penalty zone, but Super Marco comes in with his Salmon Force. Lancy with a save for the Nether Realm. Flap TZ, Primal Wrath. Here comes Kyle TZ, a pull again from Lancy. 1v1 between the junglers. Still no deaths for TNC. Only Few was the casualty.
TNC holding on. They're actually going to get the tier 1 down too.
Another pull from Lancy, plus the Blazing Duet from Kozin. What a play from Lancy and Kozin. They're not even done, forcing the Glorious Pathway and Salmon Force. Want to go right after Super Marco. 3.7k gold lane plus the mid lane takedown.
This is as far as TNC has found themselves in a lead against FCAP so far in the series, and they're doing it very well. A lot of that you could see from that team fight. It might have looked a little messy, but they were just responding to what FCAP was doing. A lot of times, too, FCAP was trying to peel for each other. They were there. Even the Salmon Force and the Glorious Pathway being dropped down. Good responses from TNC, though, to kind of be patient. They're still aggressive, but they're a little more calculated on the way they're approaching things. Even the fact that they had Kozin pushing down bot, and then he came to the mid to join the fight. Great usage from Lancy with the Stampede again from the Spharamis, and that's all highlighting the fact, again, the amount of utility from TNC is what FCAP is really struggling with. The damage from them isn't necessarily even there just yet. Once Kozin comes online with the trinity of items that he needs, and even to an extent where Kazin is locked in once he gets the penetration on this Julian pick, that's where things kind of get worrisome for FCAP here. And so for that, they're still finding themselves behind, especially leading into this first objective. With this kind of lead, TNC should clearly take this first Lord without a problem. But I don't think FCAP freely gives it away. They're trying to get vision, but they might be too late.
Yeah, they're going to be too late because TNC is going to burst down the Lord. Kaysen successfully gets it, but TNC wants to go for the fight. Circling Eagle coming in from Escalaria just to force out the Glorious Pathway, and now they're going to disengage. And going back to your point, I do agree. TNC, in terms of burst, looking at the lineup, they don't have that much burst, but the fact that, as you mentioned, they have a lot of utility, it's easy for them to extend the fights.
Yeah.
I mean, you thought, prior to that Lord Clash, you thought that the clash was over, but Escalera goes in the Circling Eagle, or the chase from Heads with the penalty zone flicker play, and I think he wants to do it again, because Escalera, Circling Eagle, will connect. Ogwen soaking up the damage. The stunts coming in from Kazan as they get the purple buff of Kao TZ.
They took the purple buff. Now they're going to work here, trying to put some pressure on this mid lane, the tier 2. Lord's still up as well, so FCAP has to clear that out. And you're wondering, if you're looking at FCAP, you know, when does this power spike come into play for them? They're 10 minutes into this game. They've had plenty of time to farm up, at least for Super Marco. Few, just this utility mage trying to set things up. They're going to try to withstand this siege into the base here.
Okay, Holy Shield's been popped. Heads just really waiting for the perfect opportunity here to use the penalty zone as they work on the middle lane turret. But Falcons AP BREN says
Oh,
no glorious pathway. Okay, they want to go for the engage. And TNC has to back away. And now this time they can counter engage because there's no more glorious pathway coming in from Ogwen.
Yeah, there's none from them, but FCAP will just go ahead and clear things up. They hold on. They only lost that Holy Shield of the base turret in the bottom side. They're still holding on to the tier 2 mid and still keeping things together. Now this is the part where TNC is put to the test. It's always at this point in the game. Every time you look at all their matches from the past 5 weeks, they have a great lead. They've been in this position before. Now can they cap out this win here?
Okay, they're just gonna zone out Falcons AP BREN to contest for this orange buff. It's a 5-on-5. We're gonna wait for the penalty zone from Hens, connecting onto the backline. Goes in with a beautiful blazing duet. Winter Crown play, but he's not gonna be able to burst down anyone. Lancey has to use the Nether Realm, respecting the damage of Falcons AP BREN. Now the question is, who got the Kozen got the orange buff?
Everything from TNC was utilized there. You couldn't have asked for a better set. That was a great setup, but also a great response from FCAP. Despite being down how they are in terms of itemization, no one went down in the exchange. They held their own. They keep farming up. You can see the items. You know, they are falling behind. Look at the gold difference for the gold laners. Super Marco so far behind, what, almost 3,000 gold behind here. So he's still trying to work on those next items following up to match up against Kozen's firepower. And then, so that's what they have to do. They have to somehow keep staying alive from those setups that TNC's thrown at them. And with that, keeping that in mind, again, they might be better off leaving this Lord, letting it go. But it's FCAP. We don't think that they're exactly going to do that. As you can see them trying to get in a position here. Full force of TNC with a massive lead. We'll see if they're able to pull through with this Lord, or if they're even shoved off from it, as FCAP still stays on the front side.
Okay. Falcons AP BREN willing to trade, willing to contest for the second Lord. And going back to your point, the utilities of TNC, I mean, you have to think about the Nether Realm, you have to wait for it to be popped. And apart from that, so far, all penalty zones from heads are connecting. Not every penalty zone results to a kill, but almost all results to objective takedown. So we're gonna see and wait what heads, what Escalera will do to secure this Lord.
There it is. They're going to start it up. They're going to give the green light for it.
Okay, bursting down. Circling Eagle will be casted just to zone out. Kaldi's just waiting for a perfect opportunity. Goes in with a blazing duet! Penalty zone in as well with the Nether Realm. Few is going to fall down along with Flapteezy. Perfectly executed for TNC. An uncontested Lord take.
And TNC will be rewarded. 2 kills, objective secured. This game should be theirs. 13 minutes in, a massive power spike in their favor. Heavily outgunning FCAP, now knocking on their base. This is as perfect as it can be for the lineup they brought, and now they push it through the mid.
Oh, penalty zone again, on to 2, as the glorious pathway is there. Now Flapteezy and Few are here for the defense. Lord still marching into the bottom lane. Again, the Holy Shields has been popped. Now TNC, they can utilize this Lord by taking down 2 inhibitor turrets or even ending the game at this point.
Still going to put the pressure here. Lord has to be worked on. FCAP will do that. Charge going to come through. Going to try to hold on in their base the best they can, but it should be a fully exposed base of FCAP. TNC looking to take it to game 3 against these Titans here.
And the penalty zone from Heads! And all the combinations from the Phoenix Army. It's just too much for Falcons AP BREN. Ogwen is going to fall down as their base is now fully exposed. Kaldi's goes in with the Lycan Pounds, but going up against 4 members. Oh, look at Escalera trying to bait out Kaldi's here. He has Kaizen beside him. No casualty is only Ogwen, plus the inhibitor turrets. Again, another perfectly executed penalty zone from Heads.
Heads has been on point, man. He is just finding the right entry points, finding the right moments to lock down at least 2 to 3 members of FCAP every single time. And you can see this too. FCAP will still stay in the game. They lose all the turrets in the base though, so TNC, massive lead. They haven't lost a single turret. This is usually unheard of for FCAP.
Oh, go. Circling Eagle combination. And here comes the stuns coming in from Kaze and Flap. TC tries to evade it with Earth Shatter. Look at that! Penalty zone plus the Blazing Duet again. Who's going to fall down first? It's going to be Few. Flap is the next target. Double kill for Kozin. It's just 3 members left for Falcons AP Bren.
Just 3 members. They lost Few. They lost Flap. But they won't lose the game just yet. Somehow, someway, FCAP keeping up the members when they need to. They'll clear the waves out. But TNC, you can see how much synergy they're showing in game 2, making things work. The utility is there. Kazin feeling pretty good about it as well. But it's always this, you know, Kozin has not been touched. He's been able to get to the back line so easily, so confidently against FCAP. And I don't know, man, Few on this EF pick, it's tough. It's tough because, yeah, the whole reason you pick it up, you have that death box real-world manipulation. You set things up, and that might be playing a part on why this game hasn't ended just yet, because you still have to respect it. Even when you're up this far ahead like TNC, you still have to expect the fact that when real-world manipulation is up and it's Amin forced to deal with then the Glorious Pathway, it's a lot that can turn things around. So FCAP, knowing all of this, even with all their base turrets down, they'll still stay up front here, getting vision on this Lord take. And TNC, they can play around on the macro level. We'll see if they pull it off here. Or what Heads does. He has a flicker available with the penalty zone. He has the information he needs. FCAP will clear the waves. They have to manage the top side as well. And Lancey will jump on in.
Okay, zoning out Flap TZ. Kyle TZ has to deal with the minions up top. Falcons AP Bren wanting to go for the kill, but no casualty for TNC there. And now this is going to be a hard defense for Falcons AP Bren. I mean, that's what, the 3rd Lord?
Yeah.
3rd Lord plus the kit coming in from TNC. So far, even Lancey, I really want to commend Lancey because the Nether Realm was always casted on time. Like, not just casting it as soon as the clash starts, but he's waiting for the perfect moment wherein almost all his teammates are really low to, like, get bang for the buck for that Nether Realm.
This is where we see if this lineup from FCAP is able to have a successful defense like they've been doing. Again, they don't have any movement to work with, any map presence to really work with. No turrets down, but they got to deal with this Lord and the push from TNC.
And here comes Heads again with the penalty zone. Flap TZ popping his Primal Wrath. Goes in onto the backline with the Blazing Duet. The Lord will be bursted down. All members of Falcons AP Bren are low. Kyle TZ focusing on the minions, but the tower lock from TNC is there as they force a game 3.